I was pulling another all-nighter, staring at lines of code until 2 in the morning, when my brain finally short-circuited. All I could think about was one thing. The second this project was done, I was taking a week off, heading to the coast, and staring at bikini-clad women for 3 straight days. The covier, the better. On the way home, I got hit by a car. To be more precise, I was hit by a stretch limo with Alpha Transport emblazoned on the side in gold lettering and woke up inside a novel. When I opened my eyes again, I found my hand cupping a girl's chin. My fingers were long and strong, the pose so perfectly executed it could have been a tutorial for a CW drama, if you ignored the frantic, screaming monologue scrolling through my head. Wait, why is my hand moving on its own? These fingers are way nicer than my original set. No, focus. Whose chin am I grabbing? My gaze was forced to lock onto the girl's face. She was a vision of teary-eyed, damsel-in-distress perfection. White sundress, soft hair cascading over her shoulders, the whole package practically screaming, "I'm pure, I'm fragile. Please protect me." Then my mouth started moving on its own. A deep, magnetic voice I'd never heard before emerged, laced with 3 parts icy disdain, 3 parts mocking amusement, and 4 parts casual indifference. I had no idea a voice could convey so many emotions at once, but there it was. Your innocence is intriguing. Excuse me? Innocence? Intriguing. System, get out here. We need to have a chat about artistic freedom. You can't just force this type on me. This is an arranged marriage of taste. Do you know what C-cup is? I like curves, not walking, talking porcelain dolls. I was screaming internally, but my body remained perfectly still, maintaining that chin-holding pose. My thumb even began to stroke her cheek, completely against my will. The girl, Sophia Evans, the novel's untouchable sweetheart heroine, trembled, a single, perfectly timed tear rolling down her cheek. "Mr. Reed, please. Don't do this." "Don't do what?" my mouth replied, adding a soft, condescending chuckle for good measure. "Woman, you're playing with fire. Somebody call 911. We got a fire. Help." I lost control of my mouth. What decade is this dialogue from? Did they dig it up in an archaeological site? I fought to reclaim my body. I tried to unclench my fingers, but they only tightened their grip. I tried to close my eyes, but my eyelids wouldn't budge. I even started chanting in my head, "I like curves, I like curves, I like curves," hoping my sheer force of will could overpower this mysterious force. Then a ding sounded in my mind. System notification. Host's aesthetic preferences deviate from the main storyline. Commencing mandatory correction. Correction method. Activating intense, soulful gaze enhancement package. My eyes felt like they'd been superglued to Sophia's face. I'm not being metaphorical. They were literally welded in place. I tried to look away, but my eyeballs politely informed me that the system hadn't authorized that command. "Hey system, buddy, can we talk about this? I'm more of an hourglass figure kind of guy. Look at this girl. She's so thin a strong breeze could send her flying. It's just not my thing. Can we maybe switch targets? How about?" Before I could finish my thought, my mouth moved again. "You've successfully captured my attention." "Yeah, you captured the attention of my aesthetic red alert system." Beep, beep, beep. Just then, there was a knock on the office door. 3 knocks. Not too loud, not too soft. The rhythm was so precise, it could have been timed with a metronome. The door opened. A woman walked in. My eyes were still locked on Sophia, but my peripheral vision, thank God for the miracle of human biology, caught a glimpse of her, and the scrolling text in my brain exploded. "Hello, why crap? That figure. Is that a 3D model? System, look. That's what a normal human finds attractive. Curves in all the right places and a waist you could circle with your hands. Is that even physically possible? Wait, Alpha CEO plot. Shouldn't I be giving her the cold shoulder? Why isn't the system forcing me to glare at her?" The woman carried a stack of files. She wore a perfectly tailored business suit, the white blouse buttoned to the very top, the black pencil skirt ending exactly 1 inch above her knee. Behind her gold-rimmed glasses, her eyes were as cool and calm as a precision instrument. This was Willow Hayes, my secretary. In the original story, she was just a background character, a plot device. "Mr. Reed, the files for your 3 o'clock meeting are ready," Willow said. Her voice was like the rest of her, calm, steady, with no wasted emotion. "Also, your golf game with Mr. Thompson is at 4. Would you like me to adjust your schedule? She was talking. I was losing my mind. System. System, are you seeing this? Those legs. That waist. That. Everything. That's the type I'm supposed to like. You can force me into this story, fine, but you gonna dictate my taste in women too? What about my human rights? The system remained silent. But I noticed something. The moment Willow walked in, the force control over my body weakened. My eyes were still glued to Sophia, but I could now turn my neck a little. My mouth still wouldn't say what I wanted, but at least I could control my own breathing again. The discovery was so monumental, I almost cried. Willow finished her report and gave a slight nod. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. She turned to go. Wait, the word burst out of me. It was my own voice, my own control. It was only one word, but it was a revolutionary victory. Willow stopped and turned back, pushing her glasses up her nose. Is there something else, Mr. Reed? I stared at her, my expression probably looking like a stray cat that just spotted an open can of tuna. I opened my mouth, wanting to say, please don't go. I think I can control myself when you're near me. But as the words formed, the system hijacked them. Find a position for her, my mouth said, my fingers still pointing at Sophia. Sophia looked up timidly. Mr. Reed, I start her as my personal assistant, my mouth added, completely out of my control. $90,000 a year. She starts tomorrow. $90,000. My first job paid me $35,000. System, are you trying to bankrupt me? Willow's expression didn't change. Of course. We don't currently have an open position in that department. Shall I file a request for a new headcount? You handle it, my mouth said. Handle it. Please, handle it by making it disappear. Willow nodded and prepared to leave again. I panicked. I just found my antidote. I couldn't let her walk away. On pure impulse, I shot to my feet. The movement was so abrupt that my chair screeched as it slid backward. Willow turned around. Sophia jumped, startled. I strode towards Willow, stopping about 3 feet away from her. I raised my hands in a gesture of surrender, a move that was all my own. The system didn't stop me. Then I spoke the first completely autonomous, heartfelt, and complete sentence since I'd arrived in this world. Mom, hold it right there. You're my only hope. The office fell into a dead silence. Sophia's eyes were wide as saucers. She asked cautiously, Mr. Reed, then what about me? You can go home for now, I said quickly to Sophia. Willow adjusted her glasses. Not a flicker of emotion crossed her face. Her tone was as placid as if she were discussing the weather. Mr. Reed, do you need to see an optometrist? I can book an appointment with the best specialist in the city. You could be seen this afternoon. Great. The boss has lost his mind. It's kind of interesting, though. Better than his usual Ice King routine. But insane or not, this is going to cost him. Hazard pay at the very least. I heard that last part. No, not heard. The words just appeared in my head. I froze for a second, then realized I was hearing Willow's thoughts. The system must have mentioned something when it was booting up that I could hear the core thoughts of key characters when they were nearby. It was real. My eyes lit up. I took a tentative half-step closer. Ms. Hayes, I think I might need more than an eye doctor. Willow, outwardly. Neurology, then? Psychology? I can schedule them all. Her, inwardly. So much drama today. But I'm a professional. A professional secretary doesn't laugh at her boss. Unless she absolutely can't help it. I took a deep breath and decided to go all in. I lowered my voice, speaking just loud enough for the two of us to hear. I have a condition. Willow, should I call 911? Her thoughts. Psychiatric condition? Haha. No wonder his gaze keeps shifting between greasy and clear. It's split personality disorder. Not that kind of condition, I said, trying to choose my words carefully. I couldn't reveal the system's existence. It had warned me about electric shocks for breaking the rules. My symptoms are, I suddenly become incredibly cheesy. Willow, question mark. Like this. The words were barely out of my mouth before my body was hijacked again. It was like the system was punishing me for my brief moment of autonomy. The control slammed back down, stronger than before. I watched in horror as my left hand shot up, planting itself on the wall behind Willow. My right hand, moving on its own, reached for her chin. The classic wall slam and chin lift combo. I'm so sorry. It's not me, it's the system, Ms. Hayes, believe me, I'm not a creep. Trapped between me and the wall, Willow didn't even blink. She calmly looked up, her gaze meeting my own eyes, which were screaming, "Help me! What is this garbage I'm being forced to act out?" We stared at each other for 3 seconds. Then she spoke. "Mr. Reed, don't." She paused. "That'll cost extra." Me. Willow, basic harassment services are $500 per incident. A wall slam is considered premium harassment, which carries a 50% surcharge. That'll be $750. Cash or transfer. My body was still stuck in a wall slam pose, but the expression on my face had morphed from Alpha CEO, smirk, to who am I? Where am I? And what is she talking about? The system must have been thrown by this development, because its control flickered for a moment. I seized the opportunity to regain control of my mouth. "You offer this as a service?" "Newly developed," Willow said, her face a mask of professional calm. "Given your unique condition, I'd recommend a subscription package. A monthly plan gets you a 20% discount. Annual gets you 40%. Prepay for 3 years, and I'll throw in 1 free coffee-in-the-face service." I looked at this woman, who was calmly quoting me prices, and remembered the snarky, running commentary I'd just heard in my head. A wild idea began to form. I took a deep breath, fighting against the system's pressure with all my might, and forced out the words one by one. "I just need you. On call. 24/7. Willow raised an eyebrow. 5 times your current salary," I gritted out. "Bonuses, benefits, and overtime paid at the highest federal rate. You only have to do one thing." I stared into her eyes. "When I start getting cheesy, save me." The office was quiet again. Sophia, who had been frozen in place by this bizarre turn of events, was utterly bewildered. Willow pushed her glasses up. Her thoughts: 5 times my salary, on call 24/7, to provide anti-cheese services. "I'm taking this job, but I need it in writing. Get all the terms down so he can't back out later. This seemed a little too easy. Is this some new kind of scam? Whatever. If the money hits my account, it's real." Her voice: "Very well, Mr. Reed. I'll go draft a contract addendum immediately." She turned to leave, then paused and looked back. "By the way, that wall slam just now comes to $750. Should I add that to your next paycheck, or would you like to settle up now?" "Me. I'll transfer it now." Willow took out her phone and held up a payment QR code. Ding. The transfer went through. Willow glanced at the notification on her screen, and the corner of her mouth twitched upward by about half a degree. Her thoughts: "Excellent. Once I make enough money, I'll be the one bankrolling you, little Reed." She left the office, the sound of her heels clicking rhythmically down the hallway. I let out a huge sigh of relief as full control of my body finally returned. I collapsed back into my chair, only then realizing my back was drenched in cold sweat. "You can head home," I said to Sophia, waving a hand dismissively. "Tomorrow, no, actually, come in next Monday. I needed time to figure out this damn system. More importantly, I needed to strategize with my new secret weapon of a secretary." After Sophia left, I was alone in the office. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling, replaying everything that had just happened. Forced into a book, shackled to an Alpha CEO system, a brainwashed taste in women, and Willow, the woman who was an iceberg on the surface and a stand-up comedian in her head. The woman whose presence gave me back a sliver of control. The woman whose first instinct was to say, "That'll cost extra." I suddenly started to laugh. "System," I thought, "you want to force me to follow your script? You want to force me to fall for the damsel in distress? Fine. Let's see who's playing who." I picked up my phone and sent a text to Willow. "Add a clause to the contract. Every time you successfully stop me from being cheesy, you get a $1,000 bonus." 3 seconds later, a reply came back. "Deal. Also, by my count, you had 3 cheesy incidents today. With a first-time client discount of 20%, that comes to $2,400. I've added it to your monthly invoice." I stared at the screen and laughed out loud. I laughed so hard I almost cried. What a ridiculous plot. What a ridiculous system. But at least I'd found a way to fight back. And apparently, it was going to be an expensive fight. The next morning at 9 o'clock sharp, Willow knocked and entered my office. She was holding 2 documents. One was a 30-page behemoth titled Employment Contract Addendum. The other was a menu. I took the menu and, with a complex expression, read the title on the cover: Anti-Cheese Service Packages and Pricing, version 1.0, prepared by Willow Hayes approved by. My conscience, it passed effective. Immediately. I looked up at her. Willow adjusted her glasses, her expression as professional as if she were delivering a quarterly financial report. Mr. Reed, considering the unique and unpredictable nature of your condition, I've designed a standardized service protocol. Please review. I opened to the first page. Basic anti-cheese package, monthly subscription, special offer, $9,999 per month. Services included. Cringe line interruption. When you're about to utter a cheesy line, I will interrupt with a cough, sneeze, or phone ringtone. Fee, $50/incident. Wall slam defense. When you're about to initiate a wall slam, I will swiftly place an obstacle, file, coffee cup, potted plant, in your path. Fee, $80/incident. Gaze control. When your eyes start to get that smoldering look, I will block your line of sight with my hand, a folder, or a sheet of paper. Fee, $30/incident. Daily monitoring. On-person surveillance from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. to respond to sudden onsets of cheesiness. Billed hourly at $50/hour. Note, services required after 10 p.m. are billed at overtime rates, 1.5x hourly wage. I took a deep breath and turned to the second page. Emergency rescue package, a la carte, advanced booking recommended, coffee splash spell break basic, drip coffee, $88 per incident upgrade. Latte/cappuccino, plus $10 downgrade. Americano -$5, recommended for best value. Note, targeting specific areas, e.g., chest, pants, incurs a $20 aiming fee. Fake emergency crowd dispersal includes full dramatic performance, script design, and coordination of extras. Fee, $131.40, a symbol of your eternal escape from cheese. Note, advanced techniques like screaming or fainting are an additional $30 per action. Feign medical emergency. Call 911. Fee, $250, an auspicious number for a speedy recovery. Includes symptom design, emergency script, and hospital liaison, if required. Note, actual ambulance arrival fees are separate, approximate. $800 per call. My hand was starting to shake. I turned to the third page. VIP custom services, 24-hour advance notice required. Fake jealousy cockblock basic. Simple confrontation, $520 per incident deluxe. Includes dramatic pulling, tears, and dialogue battle $888/incident Oscar worthy. Includes throwing objects, slapping, and running in the rain, $1,500 per incident. Damage props billed separately. Normal person dialogue, ghostwriting rate, $1/word. Cheesy words are double charge, e.g., woman, fire, attention, intriguing, etc. Billed at $2 per word. Monthly subscription, $500 per month for up to 5,000 words. How to smile like a human and not a supervillain, tutoring free trial class. 1 session, 45 minutes, regular course. $99 per session monthly package. $888 per month, 2 sessions/week. Guaranteed results. If you don't learn to smile more normally after completing the course, you get a full refund. Materials fee non-refundable. I closed the price list and was silent for 3 seconds. Did you sleep last night? 4 hours, Willow said calmly. The rest of the time was spent on market research, cost analysis, and risk assessment. I also consulted with a lawyer. These are legally classified as personalized assistant services and are fully compliant. She pulled another sheet of paper from her folder. This is the preliminary contract. If you agree, we can sign now. If not, she paused. Her thoughts. Then I'll just demand 10 times his salary. He needs me, after all. Her voice. We can negotiate further. I looked at the contract, then at Willow's impossibly calm face. I remembered the terrifying feeling of my body being puppeteered. I remembered the despair of hearing myself say your innocence is intriguing to Sophia. And I remembered the magical moment when Willow's simple phrase, "that'll cost extra," had given me back a sliver of control. "I'll sign," I said, grabbing a pen. "Right now." As I signed, Willow added, "By the way, you have 3 outstanding cheese-related incidents from yesterday. Calculated according to the new price list, plus the prepayment for 24-hour on-call service. Your initial payment comes to $12,460. We accept wire transfer, check, cash, and credit card. My hand jerked, nearly messing up my signature. 12 grand. For 3 cheesy moments. Wait, the real question is, do I actually have that kind of money? I looked down at my hands, long, pale, clearly unacquainted with manual labor. I felt the fabric of the expensive-looking suit I was wearing. Oh, right. I was Mr. Reed now. The Alpha CEO, Mr. Reed. I could probably afford it. Card. I gritted out, pulling a black card from my wallet. Willow took the card and, with practiced ease, pulled a portable card reader from her purse. She carries a card reader in her purse. How long have you been planning this? Beep. The transaction was approved. Willow glanced at the receipt, and her lips curved upward another half-degree. Her thoughts, payday, payday, cha-ching. One step closer to being rich enough to be a sugar mama. She handed the card back and filed the contract. Well then, Mr. Reed, our partnership is officially underway. Do you have any cheesy, any scheduled activities today that require my assistance? The words were barely out of her mouth when my body went rigid. I felt that familiar sense of control washing over me again. Wait now. System, you're not even going to let me catch my breath? My eyes began to move uncontrollably toward the clock on the wall. My mouth opened. It's 10 o'clock. Willow raised an eyebrow. I continued, my voice low and deliberately slow, each word sounding like it was plucked from a trashy romance novel. Time to go to the coffee shop downstairs. The coffee shop, chapter 3 of the novel, is the coincidental meeting with Sophia at the coffee shop. System, are you trying to speed run this thing? Willow reacted instantly. She pulled a pair of wireless earbuds from her purse, placing one in my ear and the other in her own. Testing, testing. Mr. Reed, can you hear me? I managed to nod, an action that was my own. Excellent, Willow said, her words crisp and fast. You are about to enter the coffee shop and run into Sophia Evans. According to the plot, you will pay for her coffee and then say, "Woman, the way you can't even afford a cup of coffee is adorable." Correct. My eyes widened as I nodded frantically. How did you know? Have you read this book? Willow didn't answer, but a thought flashed in my mind. I skimmed a few Alpha CEO novels last night. The tropes are all the same. She slipped a small index card into my suit pocket. Here's the action plan. Plan A. I spill coffee on you. Plan B. I feign a medical emergency. Plan C. What's Plan C? I whispered, taking advantage of the small window before the system took full control. Willow pushed up her glasses. Plan C is I go over and have coffee with you, scaring her away. Her thoughts, and I can expense the coffee. Me? I had no idea what to even say to that. The coffee shop, 10:05 a.m. My body moved stiffly through the door. The system's control was even more refined than yesterday. Now even my walk was a stereotypical CO stride. Steady, powerful, eyes forward, radiating an aura of I'm expensive, don't touch me. And there she was, in the corner, just as the script dictated. Sophia. A glass of water sat in front of her as she stared at the menu, a look of indecision on her face. According to the book, she'd lost her wallet and couldn't afford a coffee, but was too embarrassed to leave. And according to the book, I was supposed to walk over, slap down my black card, and tell the barista whatever the lady wants, put it on my tab before delivering that classic line. Woman, the way you can't even afford a cup of coffee. My mouth had already started to form the first word. Just then, Willow's calm voice came through the earbud. Prepare for Plan A. Target, the booth to your right. Commencing countdown in 3. 3. My body was moving toward Sophia. 2. Sophia looked up and saw me, her expression turning to one of mild panic. 1. I opened my mouth. Voo. Splat. A full cup of coffee slammed directly into my suit jacket. The dark brown liquid spread rapidly across the fabric. The cafe went silent. Sophia froze. The baristas froze. And I was cheering internally. Nice one. That was a world-class coffee spill. A work of art. Wait, this coffee feels hot. Ow, ow, ow. Willow shot up from the adjacent booth, an empty cup in her hand, her face a mask of shock. Oh my goodness, Mr. Reed, I am so sorry. I wasn't looking where I was going. Her voice was pitched with the perfect amount of panic. I tripped. Are you all right? As she spoke, she pulled out a napkin and began dabbing furiously at my jacket. managing to smear the remaining coffee stains even more evenly across the material, making the disaster look even worse. I opened my mouth to speak, but the system, apparently baffled by this unexpected turn of events, hadn't issued a new command yet. Willow seized the opportunity, turning to Sophia with a sincere expression. "Miss, I'm so sorry you had to see that. Mr. Reed, he's deathly allergic to coffee. The slightest touch, and he breaks out in hives. I have to get him out of here immediately." Sophia looked confused, but he was drinking coffee the other day. "That was an accident," Willow shot back. "He almost ended up in the ICU. The doctor said another exposure could send him into anaphylactic shock." Her thoughts. "ICU beds cost 10 grand a day. He can't afford that." But I can't say that out loud. I finally regained control of my mouth and jumped in. Yes. Allergic. I'm getting itchy all over." To sell it, I scratched at my neck. I might have overdone it because I actually left 2 red marks. It looked even more like an allergic reaction. Sophia stared at the red marks on my neck, then at Willow's serious face, and hesitated. "Well, her bill's on me. Let her order what she wants," Willow said, pulling my wallet out of my pocket, slapping a $100 bill on the table, and then grabbing my arm to drag me toward the door. The whole sequence was flawless. Once we were a good 30 feet from the coffee shop, Willow let go of my arm and sighed. Plan A executed successfully. Coffee splash coverage exceeded 85%, effectively neutralizing the cheesy line. As per our contract, this service is $88. Since I used an Americano, we'll deduct $5 for a total of $83. I looked down at my sopping wetsuit jacket. "Is this salvageable?" "I'll submit an invoice for the dry cleaning," Willow said, taking out a small notebook and jotting something down. "Also, I used a $100 bill from my own wallet for the coffee. You'll need to reimburse me." Me? Was her coffee really $100? "Her coffee was 32 cents, Willow said without batting an eye. The remaining $67.98 was for the latte I ordered for myself. I got oat milk, that's an extra $1. So $31.32. The other $66.66 is my service fee, covering my acting, script writing, and risk assessment." She looked up at me. "Any questions?" I looked at her calm eyes behind those glasses and suddenly burst out laughing. "No questions." I paused, then added, "Worth every penny." Willow looked down and continued, writing in her notebook, the corner of her mouth twitching up another half degree. Her thoughts. "Looks like I've got a long-term client. I can probably raise my rates next quarter." "By the way," I said, remembering something, "you mentioned you read some Alpha CEO novels last night." "Skimmed 4 or 5. It was exhausting," she said, closing her notebook. "But I've identified a pattern. Your cheesy behavior is most likely to occur in a few specific locations. The office, a coffee shop, a restaurant, and outdoors on a rainy day. Your line repetition rate is about 70%, and your action repetition rate is 85%. Therefore," she pulled another document from her bag. "Cheesy behavior advanced warning schedule." It was a spreadsheet densely packed with dates, times, locations, and probability ratings for cheesy events over the next week. I stared at the document and felt an overwhelming urge to cry. "Willow, you're a lifesaver." Willow pushed up her glasses. "That statement qualifies as a compliment. Market rate of $5. I've logged it." She turned and started walking back toward the office, then paused and looked back. "Oh, and Mr. Reed, I recommend you start carrying a spare jacket with you." "Why?" "Because next time, it might not be coffee." Willow paused for dramatic effect. "I did some research. Red wine is more effective, but the cost is too high. So for the next incident, I'm planning on using soy sauce. Excellent staining power, easy to clean up, and a bottle only costs $2. With that, she turned and walked away, her heels clicking on the pavement. Her posture was elegant. Her tone was calm, but her words sent a chill down my spine. "Soy sauce. $2. I looked down at my suit jacket, which I was pretty sure cost more than my first car. I had a feeling the coming days were going to be very interesting. And very, very expensive. Scene 1. The rain chase. An internal monologue pile-up. I got the next system notification while I was in the middle of a quarterly review meeting. Some department head was droning on, flipping to slide 38 of his PowerPoint, when a ding went off in my head. Plot mission triggered scene. City Main Street. stormy night objective. Witness Sophia Evans running in the rain. Follow slowly in your car. Roll down the window and deliver the line, "Woman, get in the car." Failure penalty. 24 hours of mandatory cheesiness. The pen I was holding clattered onto the table. A stormy night? It's bright and sunny outside. System, do you even check the weather forecast? The manager paused, looking at me nervously. Mr. Reed, do you feel this data is... Meeting's over. I shot to my feet. Everyone out. Now. As I bolted from the conference room, I heard Willow's calm voice behind me. Meeting minutes will be emailed to you all shortly. Mr. Davis, the CEO has an urgent matter to attend to. Let's continue our discussion on the Q3 budget. Willow is so damn reliable. Wait, I need to bring her with me. 3 minutes later, I burst back into the room, babbling. Then, car chase. Sophia. Now. Willow looked up from her computer and adjusted her glasses. Her thoughts. Keyword extraction. Rain. Car chase. Sophia. Cross-referencing with Chapter 47. Tears in the Rain. The CEO's fiery pursuit. Understood. She closed her laptop and pulled a waterproof folder from a drawer. The contingency plan is ready. Plan A. I rear-end your car to create a traffic accident and abort the chase. Plan B. I report you for reckless driving. Plan C. What's Plan C? I asked already at the window. The sky was still perfectly blue. Plan C is I call the National Weather Service and complain about their inaccurate forecast, Willow said, standing up. But according to the novels, no matter the weather, it will start raining within 5 minutes of the plot beginning. As soon as she finished speaking, a loud clap of thunder echoed outside. Me, Willow, see. 30 seconds later, the heavens opened up. I felt my body start to move on its own, walking toward the exit. Your car keys are in your right pocket, Willow said, following close behind, speaking rapidly. Sophia will start running at the intersection about 300 yards east of the building. As per the script, you need to follow her at 10 miles per hour, maintaining a distance of 20 yards for 3 blocks. She glanced at her phone. I've already called an Uber. It will intercept her at the end of the second block. The fare will be on your expense account. I was already at the elevator, my mouth moving on its own. I'll handle this myself. Handle my ass. Willow, save me. Willow nodded. Very well. I'll proceed with Plan B and prepare to call the police. The elevator doors closed. I looked at my reflection in the polished steel. My face was pale, my eyes terrified, but my body was standing ramrod straight, my finger already pressing the button for the parking garage. System, can we negotiate? How about a different plot? Maybe an indoor chase? At least we wouldn't get wet. No response. The rain swept street. 7:15 p.m. Sophia was running through the downpour. Her white dress was soaked, plastered to her skin, her hair stuck to her face. Every step sent a spray of water into the air. Her internal monologue was a confused mess. So cold, but I have to keep running. Why do I have to run? I don't know. I just do. That puddle up ahead is huge. Can I go around it? Nope. Stepped right in it. I followed slowly behind her in my black Maybach, cruising at a steady 10 miles per hour. The windshield wipers were on their lowest setting, barely clearing enough rain to see the stumbling figure ahead. I was screaming in my head. Lady, call an Uber. I checked the app. It's a $12 ride from here. You could take 10 trips in the time it takes you to run 3 blocks. Also, this is a new car. It's still in the break-in period. Driving this slow is terrible for the engine. I tried to step on the gas, my foot wouldn't move. I tried to turn the steering wheel, my hand were glued in place. I tried to honk the horn. I couldn't even twitch a finger. Fine, you're in control, you're the boss. But are you going to reimburse me for the gas? Just then, another car appeared in my rearview mirror. A white SUV, driving fast and steady. It quickly overtook me from the right, then executed a beautiful drift, if you ignored the tidal wave of water it threw onto my windshield, and screeched to a halt right in front of my Maybach. I was forced to brake. The driver's side window rolled down, and Willow leaned out. She was wearing sunglasses in a torrential downpour at night, and holding a megaphone. Attention, the woman in the white dress. Her voice boomed through the rainy night. Please get in the car immediately. The vehicle behind you is suspected of dangerously slow driving. I have already notified the authorities. Sophia stopped, turning around in confusion. Willow pushed her rain-slicked sunglasses up her nose. Girl, get in. This guy's a creep. Her thoughts, he's actually not that bad besides the cheesiness, but I've got a job to do. Sophia hesitated for 3 seconds. A few thoughts flashed through her mind. That lady is so cool, but the plot says I have to keep running. But it's really, really cold. Oh, screw it. I'm getting in. She jogged over to the white SUV, pulled open the door, and scrambled inside. Willow rolled up her window, blasted the heat, and handed her a dry towel. Dry off. There are clean clothes in the back. They're my size, so they might be a little big on you, but it's better than nothing. Sophia took the towel and mumbled her thanks. Then she watched as Willow pulled out her phone and tapped it twice. Ding. My phone buzzed. I managed to pull it out and saw a payment request. Venmo. $3,000.00 note. Rain chase plot interruption service. Includes vehicle wear and tear, acting fees, and traffic violation risk. Me. I painstakingly tapped the pay button. Then I texted back. But why were you wearing sunglasses? Willow replied instantly. That's a $500 styling fee. Do you need an itemized receipt? Me. No, that's fine. The white SUV drove off. I sat in my Maybach, watching the windshield wipers crawl back and forth, and suddenly thought, the feeling of freedom is expensive. But damn, it's good. Scene 2. The mugging meltdown, when thugs meet a talent scout. 3 days later, I received an even more ridiculous plot prompt. Scene, dark alley. Objective. Sophia Evans is being harassed by thugs. You intervene and save her, fighting 5 of them at once. Additional requirement. You must deliver the classic line. You dare touch my woman? You must be tired of living. Failure penalty. Mandatory enrollment in Alpha CEO self-defense classes, complete with cheesy smile tutorials. I was drinking a coffee Willow had made me. An Americano, black, her special anti-cheese, focus-enhancing blend. I saw the prompt and sprayed a mouthful of coffee all over the financial reports on my desk. 1 against 5. Me. System. Have you even seen my last physical? I almost failed gym class in college. My only fighting move is curling into a ball on the ground. Willow calmly wiped the desk with a napkin, glancing at my phone screen. Chapter 68. Alley Rescue. The CEO reveals his hidden skills, she said flatly. But my analysis indicates that the 5 thugs are professional extras. They get paid $300 a head, cash, at the end of the day. My eyes widened. How do you know that? I found the casting agent's contact information, Willow said, adjusting her glasses. I was going to pay them not to show up, but the cancellation fee was triple their rate. So, she pulled a new file from her bag. The Heroic Rescue to Stand-Up Comedy Conversion Plan. I opened the first page and fell silent. 10 minutes later, I was standing in the alley behind our office building. It was normally used for storing garbage cans, but Willow had cleared it out and thoughtfully arranged a few bins to set the scene. Sophia had also been invited. She stood in the middle of the alley in her white dress, looking completely bewildered. Here I am again. This time I get harassed. Why? I think I'm getting used to it. I hid around the corner, whispering to Willow, "Are you sure this is going to work?" I bought insurance, she said, checking the recording function on her phone. Personal injury, emotional distress, and public liability. I also took out short-term workers' comp policies for each of the thugs. Me? That's not what I meant. Oh, the plan's success rate? Willow considered. 85%. The other 15% accounts for unforeseen circumstances, like if they actually want to fight. In that case, we run. I wore sneakers. Just then, footsteps echoed from the mouth of the alley. 5 young men in skinny jeans, loafers, and brightly dyed hair swaggered into view. The leader, a guy with bleach blonde hair, saw Sophia, and his eyes lit up. He delivered his line with a theatrical flourish. Well, little lady, all alone. As per the script, Sophia took a step back, her voice trembling. "WH, what do you want?" My body started to move. The system propelled me forward. I yanked Sophia behind me and then opened my mouth. "You dare touch my—" "Hold it!" Willow burst out from around the corner, holding her phone aloft. The speaker was blasting at full volume. It was a ridiculously cheesy pop song from the 2000s, echoing through the narrow alley. The 5 thugs froze. Sophia froze. My line died in my throat. Willow, completely unfazed, placed her phone on a trash can lid to serve as a makeshift boombox. Then she pulled 5 business cards from her bag. She walked up to the group, handing a card to each of them. Gentlemen, my name is Willow Hayes. I'm a talent scout for the Laugh Riot Comedy Club. I've been observing your performance, and I see incredible potential. The blonde guy took the card and stared at it. Huh. Your line delivery, your physical comedy, your facial expressions. You have a natural gift for comedy, Willow said with utter sincerity. Especially you, sir, she said, pointing at the blonde. The way you drew out the word lady was very reminiscent of early Adam Sandler. Blondie, for real. Of course, Willow nodded. Our club is currently looking for new talent. We offer a base salary of $5,000 a month, plus performance bonuses. If you're interested, auditions are tomorrow at 3 p.m. She paused, then added, Oh, and I've already settled your payment for today's extra work. I sent $500 to each of you through your agent. The 5 thugs looked at each other. The one with red hair whispered, Dude, that's $200 more than we were supposed to get. Green hair, and we don't have to get fake punched. Purple hair, she said I have comedic talent. Blue hair, I kind of want to try it. Blondie wrestled with the decision for 3 seconds, then squared his shoulders. All right, we're in. Willow smiled. Excellent. Please wear professional attire to the audition. And no skinny jeans, thank you. The thugs left, chattering among themselves. Do comedians get on TV? Who's Adam Sandler? Who cares, man? $5,000 a month. The alley fell quiet. I stared at Willow, my mouth agape. The system, finally catching up, forced me to finish my line. Tired of living. Too late, Willow said. They've already started new careers. She walked over, turned off the music on her phone, and glanced at her notes. Service fee for this incident. Thug payment, $2,500. Insurance premiums, $800. Business card printing, $50. Phone battery usage. Let's haul it 50 cents. Total, $3,300.50. Rounding up, $3,301. I transferred the money. Then I asked that comedy club. I registered the business yesterday, Willow said, pocketing her phone. Registered capital of $1,000, 0 paid in. If they actually show up for an audition, I'll rent a space for the afternoon and hire 2 judges. I can keep the cost under $200. She thought for a moment. If they're actually good, I could book them for an open mic night. I've already thought a name for their set. My Life as a Low-Budget Thug. I was in awe. Sophia, who had been standing by silently, suddenly spoke up in a small voice. Can I go watch? Willow and I both turned to look at her. Sophia blushed. I just thought. It sounded kind of funny. After she spoke, her eyes clouded over again, returning to their usual vacant look, and she looked down at the ground. But in that one brief moment, Willow and I exchanged a look. Did she just wake up for a second? Scene 3. Jealousy interrupted Sophia and the stake of awakening. The real breakthrough happened on Friday night. An upscale steakhouse. Candlelight. A live pianist. Waiters in tuxedos. And, of course, a dramatic love triangle confrontation. The original plot. Sophia is having dinner with the second male lead, a gentle, scholarly college professor. When Ethan, happened to see them. Overcome with jealousy, I am supposed to slam my wine glass down and storm out, leaving them with the classic line, fine, make me the laughingstock. The system's mission for me was, slam the glass. Must be the $288 crystal red wine glass. Deliver the line verbatim. Turn and leave, briskly, but with swagger. Additional note, this is a critical plot point. Failure penalty, 1 month of mandatory, non-stop jealousy. I received the prompt while I was in my office with Willow discussing tax optimization strategies. I was silent for 3 seconds, then asked the glass, Can we swap it for a cheaper one? Willow consulted the restaurant's tableware price list on her tablet and shook her head. No, but the good news is if you break it, I can get you a discount on the replacement fee. I have a contact who's a shareholder at the restaurant. I can get you 30% off. Me. Break it first, then get a discount. First break, then pay. We must respect the process, Willow said, closing her tablet. However, I have a better idea. She opened the suitcase she now carried with her everywhere, a sleek, 24-inch carry-on, and pulled out a wine glass that looked like it came from the dollar store. Break this instead, she said, placing it in front of me. The sound will be similar, the visual effect is identical, and it represents a 99.6% cost saving. I picked up the feather-like glass and said nothing. A dollar store glass. I feel like I could crush this with one hand. Also, Willow continued, pulling a small black box from the suitcase. This is a recording device. I've already had it planted under your table. When you start your line, I'll interrupt by wheeling over the carving trolley. Me? The carving trolley? Correct. Willow smiled. Tonight's special is an $88 tomahawk steak with a $20 tableside service fee. I've already made the reservation. The timing should coincide perfectly with your glass slamming moment. She paused. The steak is on you. I nodded in resignation. 8 o'clock that evening. A window-side table at the steakhouse. Sophia sat across from the professor, a handsome, gentle-looking man named Dr. Miles. He was lecturing her on Renaissance art with a soft voice and impressive detail. Sophia smiled and listened, but her internal monologue was a different story. So bored. This guy is nice, but he's been talking for an hour. I want a steak. Why do I have to sit here and smile? I'm so tired. I arrived right on cue. The system walked me to their table, where I stood, staring down at Sophia with an icy gaze. Then, my hand moved to pick up the wine glass. Sophia's thoughts? Here we go. The glass slamming part. What's the line this time? Who cares? It's all the same. Dr. Miles stood up. Mr. Reed, you. Sir, your steak has arrived. Willow appeared, pushing a silver carving trolley, right on schedule. On the trolley sat an enormous, sizzling tomahawk steak. With a graceful turn, she positioned the trolley directly between me and the table. And then, in a movement so fast it was a blur, she swapped the $288 crystal glass in my hand with the dollar store knockoff. Before I could even register what had happened, the cheap glass was in my hand. The system, apparently caught off guard by the maneuver, stuttered for a second. In that second, Willow announced loudly, "This is our signature tomahawk steak. Best enjoy. Best paired with this red wine." She gave the cheap glass in my hand a little nudge. I gripped it instinctively. The system took over again, raising my hand. Crash! The cheap glass shattered on the floor with impressive flair. My mouth opened. "Fine. Make me the laughing." "The steak is getting cold," Willow declared, carving into the meat and releasing a mouth-watering aroma. "Medium rare. The optimal window for enjoyment is just 3 minutes. Mr. Reed, Dr. Miles, Miss Evans, please enjoy." She expertly plated 3 portions of steak and placed them in front of us. The movements were fluid, her expression professional. Sophia stared at the steak in front of her. The silverware was perfectly arranged, the sauce drizzled in the shape of a heart. She picked up her knife and fork. She cut a piece. She put it in her mouth. She chewed. Then, her head snapped up. For a split second, her eyes were sharp and clear, and a question burst out of her. "Is this medium rare?" The entire restaurant seemed to fall silent. The pianist hit a wrong note. A waiter nearly tripped. Dr. Miles's fork hovered in midair. Willow and I both stared at Sophia. After a moment, her eyes went vacant again. She blushed and looked down, her voice returning to its usual soft murmur. Mr. Reed, please don't be angry." But for that 1 second, we had all seen it. Her real self. After dinner, Dr. Miles made a polite excuse and left, likely concluding that everyone at our table was insane. Willow went to settle the bill. Sophia and I stood at the restaurant entrance, waiting for the valet. It was quiet. Finally, Sophia spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "Mr. Reed, sometimes I feel like I'm not myself." My heart skipped a beat. "Like just now," she continued. I suddenly wanted to ask about the steak. It felt like that was what I really wanted to say. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with confusion and a tiny spark of light. "Is there something wrong with me?" Looking at her, I felt a pang of sympathy. This girl was a puppet, forced by a script to cry, to laugh, to love on command. Even asking a simple question about her food felt like a symptom of an illness. "There's nothing wrong with you," I said. "You're perfect." I paused, then added, "Even better than steak." Sophia blinked, then a small, genuine smile touched her lips. It vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by her standard, gentle expression, but I had seen it. Willow returned with the receipt. "Tomahawk steak, $2.66. Tableside service, 60. Broken glass replacement fee, $201.60. That's the 30% discount. Recording device rental, 50. Total, $577.60. As I paid, I asked, what about the dollar store glass? That was a freebie, Willow said, pocketing her phone. However, I will be charging you $30 for my glass-slamming directorial guidance. She glanced at Sophia, then lowered her voice. She woke up for a second, didn't she? I nodded. Willow looked thoughtful. It seems the plot's control isn't absolute. She took out her little notebook and made an entry. New finding. High-quality food may trigger subject consciousness. Further testing required. The drunken confession. Some truths are expensive, but necessary. That night, I made a decision. I asked Willow to have a drink with me. Not for work, not as part of a plot. Just a drink. Willow glanced at her schedule. Any time after 10 p.m. is considered overtime, billed at double my hourly rate. Are we splitting the bill, or is this on you? It's on me, I said. Very well. Location. My place. The hand she was using to adjust her glasses paused for a fraction of a second. Her thoughts. Things are escalating quickly. I hear his sofa is genuine leather, though. Might be worth testing for comfort. Her voice. Should I bring pepper spray? Me? No. Seriously, it's just a drink. At 10:30 p.m., we were in my penthouse apartment. The city lights sparkled outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. On the coffee table were 2 bottles of red wine, selected by Willow for their optimal balance of quality and price. We were halfway through the second bottle. I was a lightweight, my face was flushed, and I was getting talkative. Willow, on the other hand, was a rock. No blush, no slurring, just calmly calculating the cost of the wine and what percentage she could write off as a business expense. Willow, I said suddenly, putting down my glass. I have a secret. Willow, secret consultation fees are billed by the minute, at $100 per minute. Shall I start the timer now? I shook my head. This one is on the house. I took a deep breath. The alcohol was giving me courage, and, apparently, it weakened the system's influence. The truth is, I stared at my reflection in the wine. I'm not from this world. Willow's hand paused, as she was about to pour more wine. Her thoughts, transmigration, reincarnation, alien? Wait, this would make a great novel. I wonder how much the advance would be. Her voice, go on. I'm from another reality. I was a programmer. I worked myself to death, and then I woke up inside this book. My words started tumbling out. The book is called The Alpha's Innocent Love. You're the side character. Sophia is the heroine, and I'm the unlucky Alpha CEO. Willow set down a wine bottle and pushed up her glasses. Her thoughts. I like curves. That line was so lame, I almost laughed. But if he's telling the truth, does that mean my entire life is just a story? Wait, if I'm a character in a book, and I'm thinking about being a character in a book, does that count as breaking the fourth wall? Her voice. So, all the cheesy behavior. The system forces me, I said, my voice rising. If I don't follow the plot, it takes control. I try to fight it, but I can't. It even makes me throw my money around. Willow pictured it. The corner of her mouth curved up a full degree, the most emotion she'd shown all night. So you hire me to fight the script. I grab her hand. She glanced at her watch. Physical contact fee, $50, duly noted. You're the only thing that works. When you're around, I can be myself. You're my antidote. I leaned closer, my eyes watery from either the wine or the raw emotion of it all. With you, I'm not Mr. Reed. I'm just Ethan. Willow looked into my eyes. Her thoughts, damn it, that was kind of hot. But I'm a professional. I take the cash, not the client. Although, if the offer is good enough, I could be persuaded to reconsider. Her voice, that statement qualifies as a romantic confession. Market rate is $80. With a drunken discount, that's $64. Would you like to pay now or add it to your tab? I stared at her for 2 seconds, then burst out laughing. I laughed so hard my shoulders shook and tears streamed down my face. Willow, you're really something else. I pulled out my wallet and handed her a card. Here, put 1,000 on my tab. Take whatever you need. Then I promptly passed out on the sofa. Willow looked at the card in her hand, then at the man asleep on her couch. She took out her phone and stopped the recording she'd started the moment I said, I have a secret. The recording was 18 minutes and 37 seconds long. She hesitated for 3 seconds. She didn't delete it. She renamed the file. Maybe he's serious. Mepe patru. Then she stood up, found a blanket in the bedroom, and draped it over me. She stood by the sofa for a moment, just watching. Her thoughts, should I give this a shot? Worst case, I can make him pay for damages. She took out her little notebook. On the last page, she wrote a line, then crossed it out. Wrote another, crossed it out. Finally, she settled on 2 words, under observation. She closed the notebook and turned off the living room lights, leaving just a small lamp on. As she reached the door, she glanced back one last time. On the sofa, I rolled over and mumbled something in my sleep. I like curves. The bigger, the better. Willow. She adjusted her glasses and stuck a sticky note to the inside of the door. Sleep talking recording fee, $20/line. Already billed. To request deletion, please contact me at 555-8888. She closed the door behind her. Inside, I smiled in my sleep. Outside, as the elevator doors closed, Willow gently touched her chest. Her thoughts. I'm a DD. Close enough. The elevator descended. The night was still young. Part 1. The forced separation. When a layoff comes with a 10-foot-long invoice, I realized the system had started fighting dirty on a bright Tuesday morning. I just walked into my office, before I could even take a sip of the special anti-cheese Americano Willow had prepared, when my body seized up. This felt different. Not a gradual takeover, but an instant hijacking. It was like someone had hit the pause button on my soul and handed the controls to a psychopath. Warning. Host interference with the main plot has exceeded acceptable parameters. Initiating forced corrective action. Key character separation. Target, Willow Hayes. The cold text scrolled through my mind. Then my mouth moved, speaking to Willow, who was organizing files. Ms. Hayes, a word. The voice was so cold it could have frosted the windows. Willow looked up, adjusting her glasses. A thought flashed. Starting the day, so formally? Something's wrong. She walked over, holding a folder. Mr. Reed, here is today's. You're fired. 2 words. Clean, brutal. As I said them, I felt my own heart clench. That was my emotion, but my body remained rigid, my expression as cold and distant as if I were looking at a stranger. No, my lifeline, my antidote, my 5-time salary paying savior. System, you cheater. Willow stood her ground, silent for 3 seconds. Her internal monologue, however, was running at 1,000 miles an hour. Here it is, the classic trope. Alpha CEO heartlessly fires his devoted secretary. Didn't expect it this soon. Good thing I was prepared. Her face betrayed nothing. She simply pushed up her glasses and asked calmly, reason for termination? My mouth answered automatically. Incompetence, leaking company secrets, and harboring inappropriate feelings for the CEO. With every word my mouth spoke, my mind screamed. Incompetence. She works 18-hour days. Leaking secrets? She won't even give me the office Wi-Fi password. Inappropriate feelings? I'm the one with feelings. She just has feelings for my bank account. Willow nodded, then reached into her ever-present bag and pulled out. A scroll? No, it was a roll of paper. She walked to my desk, handed me one end, and holding the other, began to walk backward. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. The paper unrolled. 3 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet. It was a 10-foot-long, single-spaced, printed document. My eyes were forced to stare at it, but my mind was completely blown. What is that? Willow Hayes' severance package, itemized invoice? What did she print this? And why is it so long? Willow cleared her throat and began to read. Pursuant to the Fair Labor Standards Act and clauses 3, 7, and 12 of our previously executed anti-cheese service addendum. Mr. Ethan Reed's unilateral termination of my employment contract requires the payment of the following fees. 1. Severance pay, calculated based on my time of employment, totaling 6 months' salary. My initial monthly salary was $5,000, which you unilaterally raised to $25,000. Therefore, severance pay is $150,000. Me? Why'd I give her that raise? 2. Compensation for accrued and used vacation time. 30 days, compensated at triple my daily wage, for a total of $75,000. 3. Overtime pay. Over the last 3 months, I have accrued 472 hours of overtime. Calculated at the federally mandated rates, this comes to $88,640. She read with the calm, even cadence of a weather reporter. My body was still frozen, but my mind was on its knees. What is she reading? Why are these numbers so big? Wait, 472 hours of overtime. That actually sounds about right. 4. Special service fees, Willow continued, pushing up her glasses. As per our addendum, the anti-cheese service is a specialized professional skill. Early termination of this service incurs a penalty fee, calculated for the remaining 12 months of the contract at $8,888 per month. This totals $106,656. 5. Emotional distress damages. She paused. For the psychological trauma inflicted upon me by your persistent cheesy behavior, a compensation of $20,000 is required. A signed psychological evaluation is attached in Appendix C. Me, a psychologist? When did she have time to see a psychologist? 6. Material damages, Willow went on, including but not limited to 3 suits damaged beyond repair by coffee spill services, 2 ambulance rental fees for feigned medical emergencies, and 5 costume changes for the fake jealousy service. Total, $12,300. 7. Acting and directorial fees. For the anti-cheese performances I designed for you, including but not limited to the innocent blink, the panicked retreat, and the coldly adjust glasses, I require a buyout fee of $30,000. She read for a full 5 minutes. I went from shocked to numb to deeply, deeply impressed. She's a genius. To be this calm while extorting. Demanding compensation. If I were the system, I'd be scared of her too. Finally, Willow reached the last item. 37. Compensation for emotional labor. She looked up, meeting my eyes for the first time, though my eyes were currently filled with the system's cold indifference. During the provision of anti-cheese services, I was required to invest emotional labor far exceeding the scope of my professional duties. This includes, but is not limited to, enduring your cringeworthy lines, cooperating with your embarrassing performances, and listening to you confess your transmigration secret while intoxicated. As this fee is difficult to quantify, it shall be calculated as 10% of your current net worth. According to my research, your personal assets are approximately $2 million. Therefore, this fee is $200,000. She rolled up the invoice. She hadn't even finished, but she'd run out of paper. The sum of these 37 items is $1,892,056. The office was so quiet I could hear the air conditioning. My body, still controlled by the system, remained impassive, but my mind was giving her a standing ovation. Brilliant! That invoice! That power! Did you hear that, system? It costs almost $2 million to fire her. The system was clearly stunned. Its control faltered for a moment. In that instant, Willow produced her portable card reader. She really does carry it everywhere, and placed it on the desk. Mr. Reed, cash or transfer. She paused, then added, if you find the amount unreasonable, we can proceed to arbitration. However, I should inform you that I have retained all evidence. Audio recordings, video footage, text message logs, and even a recording of you confessing you're a transmigrator from another world. She held up her phone. The file is titled, Maybe He's Serious. MP4 foot. Me. She didn't delete it. She kept it. Wait, maybe he's serious. Does that mean she... The system's control began to fluctuate wildly. I could feel 2 forces wrestling for my body. The system wanted me to coldly sign a check and throw her out, and my own consciousness screaming, don't let her go. In the end, the system won. My hand picked up the pen and signed a blank check. The amount, $1,900,000. My hand was shaking. That was my own tremor, but the action was completed. Willow took the check, inspected the signature, and nodded. Thank you, Mr. Reed. I will complete my offboarding within 3 business days. She turned, walked to the door, and stopped. She looked back. By the way, she pulled a small notebook from her bag, tore out a page, walked back, and placed it on my desk. This is the bill for the potato chips you stole from my desk yesterday. It's $1. Cash is fine. A check is too much trouble. And with that, she was gone. The click of her heels faded down the hallway, the rhythm as precise as ever. I stood there, my body still a puppet, but my eyes were fixed on the small note on my desk. Invoice item: stolen potato chips, ketchup flavor. Amount: $1. Note: next time you steal them, the price goes up to $2. And I'm buying the wasabi flavor. I felt my eyes start to burn. Willow, you're coming back, right? You said if you took a loss, you'd make me pay for it. So you won't really leave, right? Part 2. The Underground Rescue Discount Roses and the ASPCA. Willow didn't go far. She rented an office in the building directly across the street from mine. The rent was $2,000 a month, which she billed to my severance package, prepaying for 3 months. The office was sparsely furnished: a desk, a chair, a high-powered telescope, and an entire wall of monitors displaying live feeds from my office, the company lobby, the parking garage, and even my usual coffee shop. Don't ask how she got the security access. The answer is simply basic secretarial competence. Right now, Willow was at the telescope, watching the scene unfold in the building opposite her. I was being controlled by the system, forced to give Sophia a bouquet of roses. They were huge, beautifully wrapped, with a card full of nauseating prose. Willow narrowed her eyes, studied the bouquet, then picked up her phone. Hello, is this the flower shop downstairs? This is Ms. Hayes. I rented your telescope yesterday. I have a small request. Yes, regarding that large bouquet of red roses being delivered right now. Could you please call the young lady receiving them and inform her that those flowers were in the discount section yesterday, right next to the trash? She paused. Oh, and you might also mention that because they're a day old, they're starting to wilt. She should probably throw them out before they attract bugs. She hung up and immediately dialed another number. Hello, is this Sophia Evans? My name is Willow, and I'm a volunteer with the ASPCA. We received an anonymous tip that a Mr. Ethan Reed has a severe rose allergy, which can cause violent, explosive sneezing fits that are known to traumatize nearby pets. Yes, especially cats and small dogs. It can cause severe anxiety. You should probably dispose of the flowers immediately. Yes, for the sake of the animal's mental health. You're welcome. We're just happy to help. After 2 calls, Willow returned to the telescope. She watched as Sophia took the calls, looked at the roses in her hands, then at me, hesitated for a few seconds, and then tossed the entire bouquet into the nearest trash can. I was being forced to say something, but Sophia had already turned and walked away. The corner of Willow's mouth curved up 0.5 degrees. Her thoughts done. Next step: wait for him to regain consciousness. She opened her laptop and started typing up a new document. File name: Xboss Rescue Operation _V2.0. Docs. Part 3. The Hurricane and the Mermaid. A high-stakes hot pot wager. The system had gone completely insane. That was my only thought as my body drove me toward the city marina. This time, the plot prompt was Final Trial. A voyage into the storm objective. Take Sophia Evans out on the yacht, the Tempest. Confess your love to her in the middle of the hurricane. Required line: even if the world ends, I will be with you. Failure penalty: permanent personality override with cheesy alpha CEO. I looked out the car window. The sky was a bruised purple, the wind was howling, and trees were bent sideways. Rain hammered the windshield so hard I thought it would shatter. My phone was blowing up with emergency alerts from the National Weather Service. Hurricane Diana to make landfall within the hour. All residents advised to shelter in place. Category 4 storm warning in effect for all coastal areas. All marine vessels are ordered to remain in port. Me. System, are you blind? A hurricane. A mandatory evacuation. All boats are grounded. This isn't a plot point. This is attempted murder. No response. The car continued toward the marina. I tried to grab the steering wheel, but my hand were locked in place. I tried to slam the brakes, but my foot was welded to the accelerator. I even tried to smash my head against the window, but just as I leaned forward, an invisible force shoved me back against the headrest. Fine, you win. But I'm telling you, Willow is going to save me. She's too financially motivated to let her golden goose get cooked. The car stopped at the deserted marina. The wind nearly ripped the door off its hinges as I got out. I saw Sophia standing there, also in a white dress, shivering in the gale-force winds, but her posture was rigid. She was being controlled, too. We looked at each other. Her eyes were filled with terror and confusion. I tried to give her a reassuring smile, but my face was locked in a stiff Alpha CEO smirk. Don't smile, you idiot. Run. This poor girl, stuck with this garbage system. We were forced to board a small yacht. The boat pitched violently with the waves. My thoughts. The tempest. Shakespeare would be rolling in his grave. He meant let the storm rage on, not let the cheesy CO die a watery death. The engine roared to life. The yacht slowly pulled away from the dock, heading into the churning, black ocean. I was at the helm. I had no idea how to operate a boat, but the system did, staring at the towering waves and sheets of rain, and I felt a genuine tear well up in my eye. Willow, if you don't get here soon, I'm really going to be stuck as a permanent grease ball. About 500 yards from shore, the ship's radio crackled to life. KSSHH. Ethan, can you hear me? KSSHH. It was Willow's voice. My eyes lit up. She's here. She came. The voice on the radio was choppy, but I could make it out. Behind you, to your right. See the jet ski. I strained my neck, fighting the system's control, and managed to turn my head just enough. There, about 100 yards astern, a lone jet ski was cresting a massive wave. The person driving it was wearing a mermaid tail, a shimmering pink mermaid tail, utterly conspicuous against the gray, stormy sea. Me. Sophia saw it too. Her eyes went wide, and in a moment of clarity, she gasped, "What is that?" The radio crackled again. Rental. KSSHH. Couldn't waste the deposit. Willow's voice fought against the wind. Now, listen to me. In a moment, the system will make you jump in to save Sophia after she falls overboard. The second you hit the water, the system's control will weaken. That's your only chance. I managed to shout back into the radio, "What about you?" KSSHH. There was a pause. I took out a life insurance policy. A big one. You're the beneficiary. My heart warmed. Before I could get too emotional, the radio added, "So if you survive, avenge me, sue the system." And we split the settlement. 50-50. Me. Yep, that's her. Just then, the yacht lurched violently. As scripted, Sophia accidentally tumbled into the sea. Splash! Her white dress vanished into the black waves. My body immediately stood up and moved to the edge of the boat. The system made me shrug off my jacket with a suave, movie hero flourish, and then I dove in. "Ethan," Willow's voice screamed over the radio. "Swim back. I'm making hot pot tonight. Hot pot. I want the spicy kind." The moment I hit the water, the system's control shattered. The shock of the freezing ocean, the water filling my nose and mouth, snapped me back to reality. I kicked frantically, broke the surface, and, using every ounce of strength I had, screamed at the sky. "That's a wrap. I'm done. You can keep the paycheck." That didn't feel quite right, so I added, "And oh wait, I want the paycheck, but I'm quitting the show." Meanwhile, Sophia was struggling in the water. The script called for her to wait helplessly for a hero. But as the cold waves crashed over her, she suddenly thought, "Why? Why should I just float here and wait? Why should I have to like that cheesy idiot? Why do I have to follow this stupid plot?" She grabbed a rope dangling from the side of the yacht and began to pull herself up with a strength she didn't know she had. "Help!" she screamed. "I want to go home. I quit." Her voice was nearly lost in the wind, but her defiance was clear. And at that exact moment, crack, not thunder, 3 bolts of lightning struck simultaneously. One hit the yacht's mast, one hit the water near me, and one hit the waves just in front of Willow's jet ski. No one was hurt, but all 3 of us felt something inside our heads shatter. It was like the sound of breaking glass. And then the oppressive feeling of being controlled was gone. I floated in the water, stunned. I tried to move my hand. It was my hand. I tried to kick my leg. It was my leg. I tried to speak. It was my own voice. No cheese, no Alpha CEO bass, just my normal voice, raspy from the salt water. "I'm free," I screamed. "I'm finally free." Sophia had scrambled back onto the deck. She was soaked and shivering, but her eyes were blazing with life. "Me too," she yelled at the ocean. "Screw the innocent heroine. I'm going to be a villain." The jet ski pulled alongside the yacht. Willow, encumbered by the mermaid tail, awkwardly climbed aboard. The first thing she did was pull out a waterproof notebook. Rescue fee $1,000. Jet ski rental $300. Mermaid tail rental $50. I was going to return it, but the saltwater voided the warranty, so it's now a material expense. High-risk life insurance premium $800. You'll be reimbursing me for that. Total $2,150. I was hauled onto the deck, where I lay coughing up seawater and laughing. Even now, you're still keeping a running tab. Willow pushed up her glasses, which had miraculously stayed on. Kiss me, and I'll give you a 50% discount. Sophia, wrapped in a blanket nearby, said, "Oh." Willow's face remained impassive. That was a joke. I looked at her, then scrambled to my feet, leaned in, and gave her a quick, light kiss on the cheek. "I'm not joking," I whispered. Willow stood motionless for 3 seconds. Then she looked down at her notebook and made another entry. Kissing fee. Waive for this incident. Note, will be billable in the future. But her ears were bright red. Sophia, still shivering, piped up, "Hey guys, still here." She looked at Willow. "Willow, do you have another towel? Also, can I write a novel about this? I think it would be a bestseller." Willow pulled another towel from her waterproof bag. "You can write it, but I get 30% of the royalties." Sophia, "Deal." The hurricane still raged, but the yacht was already heading back to shore. The three of us were soaked, exhausted, and utterly triumphant. Freedom felt good. It was just a little expensive. Part 4. The Happily Ever After. A programmer, a CEO, and a best-selling author. 3 months later, the top-floor boardroom of Reed Enterprises. The company's top executives were gathered, the mood tense. The CEO was about to make a major announcement. The doors opened, I walked in. Same handsome face, same designer suit, but something about me had fundamentally changed. I walked to the head of the table and cleared my throat. "Everyone, I have 2 things to announce. First, as of today, Reed Enterprises is officially pivoting to become a tech company." A murmur rippled through the room. Second, I continued, "I'm broke." This time, there were audible gasps. To be more specific, the Mr. Reed persona is broke, I said with a smile, a genuine, light-hearted smile, completely free of cheese. "I've transferred all my shares in the company. The new CEO is..." The doors opened again. Willow walked in. Same crisp white shirt, same black slacks, same gold-rimmed glasses, a folder in her hand. She walked to my side and faced the board. "My name is Willow Hayes," she said calmly. "I am a new CEO. Effective immediately, Reed Enterprises will be rebranded as Willow Reed Tech. Our primary focuses will be AI development, cybersecurity, and..." She paused. "The development of anti-cheese software." The room was silent. Then it erupted in applause. Most of it was for Willow. Over the past 3 months, she had proven to be 10 times the CEO I ever was. I waited for the applause to die down. Then I started taking off my suit jacket. Someone in the back gasped. Underneath, I was wearing a t-shirt with a line of text printed on it. "I write good code, so I can afford to eat," and in smaller print below, "Former Alpha CEO, current unemployed programmer. Please hire me." The room went quiet again, then burst into roaring laughter. Willow put a hand to her forehead. "All right, the former CEO has clearly lost his mind. He is now my technical assistant. His salary is $5,000 a month." She glanced at me. "Room and board are included, but coffee is not. If you want coffee, you buy it yourself. $28 for an Americano, cash only." I raised my hand. "Can I start a tab?" "Willow, interest accrues daily at 10%. "Me?" "Never mind." The room erupted in laughter again. Another 3 months later, at the company's holiday party, Willow was on stage, giving her end-of-year address, when she was interrupted. I walked on stage holding a guitar. I didn't know how to play it. I was just holding it for dramatic effect. "If I could have your attention for a minute," I said. "I have a proposal to make." The room went wild. Willow, still on stage, buried her face in her hands. "Not here. Willow Hayes," I said loudly. "I, Ethan Reed, former Alpha CEO, current technical assistant. I make $5,000 a month. I have 0 in savings, but I can write code, I can make you laugh, and I can fend off your unwanted admirers. I have many flaws. I talk too much, I'm overly dramatic, and I occasionally require coffee to be thrown at me. I am hereby applying for the full-time, permanent position of Willow Hayes's husband. No retirement benefits included. I paused, then added, but it comes with a lifetime supply of love. The whole company was cheering. Someone shouted, "Say yes." Someone else shouted, "Make him sign a prenup." Willow looked at the crowd, then at me. She pushed up her glasses. Then she pulled a document out of her folder. A contract. Marriage addendum. She began to read. Clause 1. All paychecks will be directly deposited into a joint account, to which I will have sole administrative access. Me done. Clause 2. All household chores will be divided equally. Me done. Clause 3. In the event of an argument, you will be the first to apologize. Me done. Clause 4. Willow paused. You will no longer make comments about liking big-breasted women. I blinked. Why? Willow looked down, her voice dropping to a near whisper. Because I'm a DD. The room went silent for a beat. Then I broke into a huge grin. I strode across the stage and pulled her into a hug. DD is the best. DD is #1 in the world. Willow's ears went red, but she was still trying to read the contract. Clause 5. MMPH. I kissed her. Right there, in front of all 300 employees. When I finally pulled back, I whispered, Does this need to be in the contract? Willow glared at me. Yes, and it will be billed per incident. The room erupted in thunderous applause and laughter. Final scene, a beach at sunset. A small grill sizzled, skewers of chicken smoking over the coals. 3 people sat around a small table. I was grilling, my technique honed by years of late-night post-coding barbecues. Willow was on her laptop, calculating the company's monthly profits. And Sophia was typing furiously on her own laptop. Her first novel, To Hell with the Alpha, I'm the Queen Now, had just been picked up by a publisher, and her editor was demanding the next chapter. They're ready, I announced, holding up a skewer. Who wants one? Me, 2 voices said at once. All right, I laughed, handing them each a skewer. I raised my bottle of beer. A toast. The 3 of them clinked their bottles together. Sophia, to freedom. Willow and I, to freedom. The beer foam caught the golden light of the setting sun. The image froze. A line of text slowly faded in. I told you I like curves. The end.